Alright, so welcome to another episode of the In the Hot Seat podcast. And with this episode, I do have quite a lot here to actually get into. Not only will I be talking about Impact Wrestling with Multiverse of matches, but ROH Supercard of Honor, and as well NXT Stand and Deliver, and being able to get into what everything would happen with WrestleMania that I actually come most likely around for Tuesday. So I'll be talking about night one and night two, everything that went down, and getting into with Impact Wrestling and Multiverse of matches. And this one was actually really cool to be able to see this, and hopefully actually stick around. And I actually enjoyed it. Where we had the X Division Championship on the line in the Ultimate X match, which is really cool to see that. Where we had Trey Miguel defending his title. We had Jordan Grace on this one, which is really cool. Blake Christian, Chris Bay, Vincent, and Witchron all in this match. And I was actually going for Jordan Grace on this one the most to actually win, but Trey Miguel actually retaining the X Division Championship, which makes sense, and to see where things are actually be going. And I'm sure he'll be able to find a different opponent going into the upcoming pay-per-view, which is Rebellion. Hopefully, I am looking to actually go to that, which would be my first Impact Wrestling pay-per-view ever. So that would be really awesome to see that happen. Then we get into the mixed tag team match that I've been wanting to see. Mickey James and Nick Aldis, the real pro wrestling family, if you want to put it this way, on that. And Chelsea Green and Matt Cardona on this one. And this one basically going at it for quite some time, and Mickey James and Chelsea Green's relationship and friendship actually ending, and basically turning sour. Chelsea Green on more the side of Matt Cardona on this one. Mickey James coming back and having to help with Nick Aldis on this, and they actually get the win, so that was really cool to see. Curious to see what things are actually going to go between everyone. Maybe we'll see Nick Aldis definitely for sure be back in Impact more often. It's been quite some time since he actually been wrestling on Impact and everything, and seeing him on Multiverse matches definitely was well worth it. And then we had Speedball Mike Bailey and Alex Shelley on this one. Mike Bailey actually able to defeat Alex Shelley, which is pretty surprising there. Then we had the Knockouts World Tag Team title match. The Influence, Tasha Steelz, and Savannah Evans taking on Decay, Chelsea Shaw, and as well Lady Frost all in this one. It could have went to any one of them, if I'm all honest on this. But the Influence actually came back. They were able to keep their Knockouts Tag Team titles, so that was really cool there. But in the end, I was hoping in a way Decay would actually get the titles, but they didn't, so the Influence were able to remain tag team champions, and that makes sense there. Then we had Tamira Ishii on this one, taking on Eddie Edwards in a really cool back and forth match and everything, and Ishii actually getting the win over Eddie Edwards. Then we had Josh Alexander and Jonah looking to tag against actually together against Moose and PCO, which is an interesting team there, and they actually defeat Moose and PCO, which is pretty crazy. And makes sense because Josh Alexander really wants Moose. He wants the world title, especially everything that Moose has been able to give to him, and be able to deal with him and actually attacking his wife and everything. So it's basically getting personal. So seeing the match happen at Rebellion is going to be interesting for sure. And I'm sure Josh Alexander will actually get the world title back, for sure. I'm not. And then we get into the Championship Challenge, which continues to see who will face Deanna Purrazzo. And we had Fabi Pachi on this one. Haven't seen her in a bit. I've seen a little bit of her, definitely an Impact, so it's been quite a while since I've seen her. I know every time when they went to Mexico on their tours, she would be there. So to see her actually want the Reigns AAA Women's Championship and be able to have that on the line, that was interesting to see. And of course, Deanna Purrazzo actually remaining champ on that and be able to continue things. So with that, we did have a challenge, and we had Taya Valkyrie actually coming back and challenging Deanna Purrazzo, and seeing that most likely at Rebellion is going to be awesome. So happy that Taya Valkyrie is back. And then we have Chris Sabin and Jay White on this one. A really cool back and forth match between them as well. Chris Sabin actually getting the win there, so can't go wrong with that. And then we get into the Good Brothers and the Briscoes. Basically a dream match. The Briscoes actually being to deal with a double duty, basically, not only with ROH Supercard Honor, which I'll get into, and then also at Multiverse of matches dealing with the Good Brothers. They didn't win, however, but the Good Brothers actually won there, and the Briscoes still having it and being able to come back, not only dealing with Impact Wrestling, but basically ROH in the same night, which is really insane and crazy. So 2022 for wrestling is definitely a sight to see, definitely for sure on that. And then we get into, of course, with Supercard of Honor on this one, and basically where we had on the pre-show, AQA and Miranda Ali's one of my favorites, definitely, especially seeing AQA also becoming a favorite of mine. She definitely is a star, and seeing her being able to go against Miranda Ali's on this one and actually defeating her was definitely something, and well worth it seeing her get the win, so that was really cool there. Then we got into other matches, like we had Gates of Agony and Shinobi and Shadow Squad, I believe. I try not to get messing up the names too much. I'm still getting used to other names and getting back into Ring of Honor and everything. Gates of Agony getting the win there. Dalton Castle and Joe Henry. It was nice seeing them, both of them back. I really enjoy seeing them, especially Joe Henry actually still being able to sing and actually still wrestle. Able to deal with Dalton Castle, try to defeat him, but Dalton Castle coming back and actually defeating him. And we had Swerve Strickland and as well Alex Zane on this one. Swerve Strickland actually defeating Alex Zane. So basically seeing those two added really good back and forth stuff as well. We also had Brian Cage actually show up for Ring of Honor and actually defeating Ninja Mac on that one. And that was interesting to see how Brian Cage was able to actually show up for Ring of Honor, and I'm sure he'll be doing a lot more, since we didn't really fully see him in AEW that much, which kind of sucks on that, but that's what happened there, and he was able to show up for Supercard of Honor. So curious to see what else he'll actually have in store for Ring of Honor. And then we get into Jay Lethal and Azoli Moriarty on this one. Really cool stuff. Jay Lethal actually getting the win there as well. And then we get into the interim. Notice I said interim OH Women's World Championship. Mercedes Martinez and as well Willow. I really wanted Willow Nightingale to actually get the win, but Mercedes Martinez actually stands tall and wins against the interim women's world title for ROH. And I'm sure we will see Mercedes Martinez and Deonna Purrazzo do something, and maybe have Deonna Purrazzo saying that, you know, she's not exactly the main ROH Women's World Champion, and then have a whole storyline based on that. I can see that for sure later on, whether it's at Impact or for ROH. And then we get into a dream match, one of my favorite matches of the night, FTR and the Briscoes ROH World Tag Team Championship match. It could have went either or, but FTR actually getting the win there, and the Briscoes able to do a lot lately, especially being at NWA 2 as well for the tag team tournament for the Crockett Cup. Again, being at Multiverse in matches and Supercard around us, so it's been a treat to actually see them. But them being able to go against FTR was amazing. Then we got Minoru Suzuki on this, and with Titus for the ROH television championship. And Suzuki actually getting the win there, which is pretty surprising on that. And then we had the Pure Championship on the line. Narila, Yuta, and Josh Woods going at it. And it's interesting. Lately, I've been actually into the Pure Championship matches and seeing that progress and everything even more, and actually have Narila Yuta actually win. That was really cool. So can't go wrong there as well. And then we had, of course, winner takes all match for the Undisputed ROH World Championship. Jonathan Gresham and Azul Bandino on this one. Really cool stuff there. And Jonathan Gresham actually retaining and winning there, so being able to get the win on that. And after a while, we did get to see Jay Lethal come back and actually be sour and everything, so I can see stuff going on with them for the OH World title for a bit. So that's what happened there. So really crazy weekend, a lot to get into, and then we get into Stand and Deliver. On the kickoff, we only had one match, the women's tag team title match. Dakota Kai and Raquel Gonzalez coming back. Definitely love to see that. And against Toxic Attraction, and they actually get the tag team titles, which is cool. So curious to see how things will go around this time with them together again. So we'll see what happens with that. The North American Championship ladder match was just crazy. Cameron Grimes, Carmella Hayes, Grayson Waller, Santos Escobar, Solo Sakura, all in this one. Crazy ladder spots on this one. Hopefully, Grayson Waller is okay with that elbow to the ladder and everything. That was really scary. But in the end, we actually had Cameron Grimes getting the title, which is really cool, well deserved, and going to the moon. So really awesome there. Then we get into Tony D'Angelo taking on Tommaso Ciampa basically in his final match for NXT. Tony D'Angelo actually gets the win, and Tommaso Ciampa basically having the still celebration, if you will, and thank you, and especially Triple H coming out and actually giving a thank you and everything else. And he was able to actually retire from in-ring competition, which still sucks and it's crazy to actually think about, but he'll still be doing a lot behind the scenes, so I thank Triple H on that, and definitely one of my favorites of all time, for sure. And then we get into the tag team title match, triple threat with MSK, Imperium, and the Creed brothers. On this one, MSK actually getting the tag team titles, which was interesting. It couldn't win to any one of the teams, especially Imperium retaining, but they didn't. MSK getting the win, so maybe we'll see them still feud with Imperium, or who knows on that. Then we get into the women's fatal four-way match for the NXT Women's Championship. Mandy Rose, Cora Jade, Io Shirai, and Kaylee Ray. All in this one. It couldn't went to any one of those women, but Mandy Rose actually shining. Showing that she actually can do things on her own, even though she's with Toxic Attraction. But she actually retained, which is really cool. I thought it was Cora Jade's time, but she will eventually, I'm sure, get the title at some point. Kaylee Ray, I'm sure, as well, and Io Shirai will also be on the main roster. I would love to see that, or go back to tagging together. And then we get into Gunther and LA Knight having a strong showing for LA Knight. I thought he was actually going to get the win at times, but Gunther actually gets the win there. And the NXT Championship, Dolph Ziggler and Braun Breaker. Really cool stuff. I really thought Braun Breaker was going to win, but Dolph Ziggler actually comes back and retains the NXT Championship all right there. So Dolph Ziggler actually being in the main event, actually where he's supposed to be, is really cool, even if it is for NXT. So I'd love to see that. And really crazy weekend. That was just not only for Friday, but for Saturday afternoon for NXT Stand and Deliver. I will do my WrestleMania review, definitely for sure, on the podcast. So continue your support and check that out too as it happens. Most likely on Tuesday. From WrestleMania Night 1 and 2, and I might talk about what happened for the Raw after WrestleMania. Until then, I'll catch you guys in the next podcast, whenever the hell the next podcast may be. Until then, enjoy the rest of your weekend / week as well.